Hi, I'm Chris Cuciurean, guest host on Living 365 TV today. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365.
Hi, I'm Tammy Taylor, guest host on Living 365 TV today. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365.
Priya Ali, host of Living 365 TV. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365. Welcome to Living 365 TV. I'm your host, Priya Ali. This show is designed to bring you real experts, real tools for real people like you who are ready to stop waiting and start living 365. Welcome to the show. So great to have you back. Today we're going to be talking about angels. I love my angels. I love the angels. I love your angels. We're going to talk more about angels. But first, I want to let you know where we're going to be. We're going to be at Oakville's largest holistic wellness expo. Living 365 TV is going to be covering the expo on Saturday, November 21st from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's going to be at St. Joseph's Ukrainian Catholic Church. There will be over 85 local and surrounding area practitioners that will be offering their services up. Now, what happens here is you pay a fee of $25 to enter, and then you have access to all 85 practitioners for 15 minutes of free service. That is an amazing day. I'm looking forward to covering it and seeing you there. As well, we are going to be in Vancouver. We're going to Vancouver for all of our viewers from Vancouver and the surrounding area. Come and see us at the Body, Soul, and Spirit Expo from Friday, October 30th to November the 1st. And that's at the PNE Forum. I'm really looking forward to heading out to Vancouver and meeting all of you. Today, joining me for this wonderful show on angels is Chris Cuciurean, spiritual teacher and founder of Rainbow Energy Healing. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Priya.
And the lovely Tammy Taylor, psychic medium, angel guidance, and healing practitioner. Welcome, Tammy.
Thank you, Priya.
Such a pleasure to have you both here. Now, I have known you for quite some time, but it's been a long time since we've connected. You actually reminded me that you'd been here before, and I had forgotten. And you, I am just meeting for the first time, and I'm wondering why I haven't known you before.
I don't know, Priya.
You seem like so much fun. It feels like we would have crossed paths before. Now that you're not. Just saying, let me throw that out there.
Okay.
So I brought you in today to help me raise awareness around the angels, the angelic realm, and what it is to communicate with our angels. We are all able to do so. And I wanted to ask you all to help me share with the viewers how to kind of get a sense of that we are communicating with our angels, how to help us enhance our connection with the angels, how to get us started if we haven't even done it before, and to go from there. Personally, for me, my journey began because you have abilities in the psychic and mediumship abilities as you both do. I have as well. I was born that way, and actually learning to become comfortable with that. And as I was mentioning to you earlier, it runs in my family as well, and my aunt was actually institutionalized back in South America for having psychic and mediumship abilities because it was considered a bad thing. And for me, that on a subconscious level as well really created a lot of chaos and discomfort for me. And I kept it I was in the psychic closet, so to speak, for a very long time, in the mediumship closet, because of the fear and the stigma around it. And my really first conscious connection with my angels was through, who's now 15, my son at the time. He was experiencing some things, and I took him to a metaphysical store, and he walked in there. He was about 5 years old, and he was drawn to some crystals, and the store owner gravitated to him and spoke to him and helped him choose his crystals. And we left there, and he said, "Mommy, that's the most peaceful I've felt in all my life." And I thought, wow, that's a 5-year-old. And I was meditating one day, and he came to me and he said, "Mommy, why don't you use my crystal today?" And I said, okay. So I went through my meditation, and I began to start hearing the guidance. I started to hear the guidance come through for me, followed by the voice of my grandmother who had passed. And I was a little shaken, to say the least, I'll be honest with you, hearing it. And so after the meditation, I called them in because I'm thinking, help somebody, what's going on? So I'm tuning this adult woman to my 5-6-year-old son, and I was like, son, I'm hearing this voice and I'm hearing my grandma. And he goes, oh, it's about time, Mummy. They told me this was the crystal that would help you. Finally.
Wow.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Right? And so I started off with a deck of angel cards from that time on, and working through that. I connected with you. You helped me and mentored me through that time of my life. I went off to Hawaii and spent time with Doreen Virtue, and then just continued to grow in that capacity. So I'm curious to know, after that big long story, as to how you all kind of came into connection with your angels. Jump in, whoever wants to go first.
Well, I grew up in a very psychic household. My mom read palms, she read tea leaves. They weren't big on protection.
Yeah.
So one of the things I like to do now is house cleansing, because I know what it's like when people are using Ouija boards and tarot cards and they're not protected.
Yes.
But when I was growing up, it was just a given. If I needed an answer to something, my mom would always say, well, just contact your guardian angel. Just sit quietly and ask your guardian angel for the answer. So I always grew up with just ask your guardian angel. Just always sort of go into that place of meditation and reflection, and let the answers come to you.
Yeah.
And now I had a lot of past life fear, which I didn't know about. I was terrified, and I mean terrified of anyone finding out that I was psychic. And I had an experience in Belfast, Northern Ireland, where the spirit of this young woman came to see me, and she had a message for our tour guide, and I passed it on to him. Once I got home, I sent him a note and I passed him on this message, and it was a very beautiful message. And I was terrified when I was sending it. It's like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? You can't make me do this. I hate this. This is the stupidest thing ever. And I'm cursing away. And this beautiful message as I'm typing it out. I pressed send, and I hoped and prayed that was it. And about 3 weeks later, he got back to me, and he had this very beautiful response, and about how profound it was, how life-changing the message was. And that was the first time in my life I thought, okay, maybe if I can learn how to control all of this stuff, maybe something good could come from it.
Yeah.
And what I did was I contacted Chris.
Yeah. Everybody should go to Chris when you get
Go
started.
see Chris, go see Chris.
Or Tammy and I. Go to Chris too.
And Chris really helped me. With me, it was all past life. So it was all about bringing up past life fears. And it was lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of people finding out I was psychic and being burnt at the stake, being tortured, being imprisoned. So when you talk about your aunt being mentally institutionalized, I mean, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
You know, and this has been going on for centuries. So those that are very psychic have often had a past life history of torture, of torment, of incredible fear. So there's a lot of incredibly intuitive people out there that are terrified of this whole subject matter. And going to see Chris and really working with the angels really helped me get this under control. And so one of my favorite things to do now is to do readings with clients where I bring in their guardian angels and their spirit guides and just translating those messages as they come through. And I love it now, but it was a tough road, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I can totally understand, because I've had this similar experience in my past lives as well, as the being beheaded, being burnt at the stake because of this knowledge or these messages that we were bringing in, and the witch around us and that kind of thing. So I completely identify with what you're talking about, and I think that also was in my fear too, until I learned to embrace it and ask for the guidance and the assistance of my angels to help me work through that and allow me to bring those messages through.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, I have a little bit of a different experience. So I wasn't aware that I was psychic my whole life. I think I was very psychic till about 3 or 4 years old.
Yes.
And my mom and dad were somewhat afraid of it and didn't really know what to do with it. So oftentimes when I would experience something, they would say, oh, it's just imaginary, you're not seeing anything. So I shut down my psychic gifts maybe unconsciously as a child, just to fit in with mom and dad and to be safe. And so as I grew up, I was not really aware of what you talk about being psychic your whole life.
Yeah.
And I think my story is a great example for those people who feel that maybe they're not psychic, because we are all psychic. For me, it started in my 30s, and it started in the early 2000s with meditation. As I started to meditate, I started to have experiences. I started to hear voices. I started to feel palpable sensations of a hand on my shoulder. There's nobody there. I'd start to feel as if somebody was caressing my cheek, or just running their fingers through my hair. And that led me to want to understand more. In conjunction with that, I had left my high-tech business career in the computer field and began helping people as a life coach. And by being of service to people, the angels, my angels, are there to help, because they're representing our Creator's will of love and help and assistance and service. And so when I decided to be of service, I started really noticing those touches, those caresses, those inner words of guidance. And so that led me to a book falling off the shelf and studying about angels. It was a Doreen Virtue book. And I went to California and Hawaii and studied with Doreen and learned to communicate with angels. So during that process, it was probably around the time I met you in the mid to late 2000s, I was having my experiences of talking with my angels, getting to know them, having a voice show up in my head, or a sensation in my body, or sometimes a visual, like a visual experience of something that was very powerful, that was maybe not yet occurred, but was about to happen. And then when it happened, it taught me that I was visually psychic, which had been shut down most of my life. So it really was an awakening and a blossoming process. It was a very exciting time. And it was during that time that I received help and guidance from the angels that I was going to work with an energy healing modality. So rainbow energy healing was something that I learned about from angels and have been teaching about since then, and teaching also how to help people open up those gifts, just as I had went through. I didn't have that teacher next to me, mentoring, holding my hand. It was maybe a book here or there and just my own experiences. And I think what's really happened now in the year we find ourselves in 2015, everybody is intuitive and everybody is psychic. Everybody has that divine birthright, I like to say. It is your birthright to utilize that intuitive connection. And it's different for everybody. For some it's visual, for some intuition is a gut feeling, for some it's just a knowingness, and for some it's that inner voice of truth and what resonates as being valid and important and guiding for people. So everybody is psychic, and that's one of the things I like to do now. I've been doing for some time is just teaching people that how to identify it within themselves and then utilize it. And I think one of the most beautiful things about working with angels is angels are a messenger or a form of what our highest source has for us. Our highest source, the will of our Creator, our infinite source of love and wisdom, has a message that says, you are safe, you are eternal, all is well, you can overcome fear. There is love supporting you and flowing through you, and you can give that. And you are powerful and creative in this present moment, so you can create whatever you want. And healing is a choice that you can make. You can be whole, integral in every way now. So the angels bring us those messages. And once we learn that intuitive connection, however it comes to us, whatever form, angels are bringing us that opportunity in this moment to stop waiting and start living, if you will.
Oh, thank you. I like that. I like how you tied that in there.
Segue.
Show off.
Where do we go next?
Hold on.
But you bring up a lot of great points, actually, as my wheels are turning as I listen to you and where we're going with this next. There's so many things that you said there. One of them is the way that we receive communication, that everybody is different. And I think that's so important for people to recognize and appreciate. I can remember going to angel therapy in Hawaii, and my son basically was kind of my mentor. And I can remember him being able to see the auras and just, oh, mommy, there's the red or the blue or the whatever. And he would see in these vibrant colors. And I was like, hee-haw, I'm going to angel therapy and I'm going to be seeing me some auras, right? And so I'm sitting there in the training, and it was like, yeah, okay, cards, yep, I know how to do that, I'm good, yep, I'm doing it, yep, I got that aura reading, what is that? Okay, aura reading. So we get down, we sit down, pick a partner, it's time to read the auras. And exactly the way that I had been seeing them all along, and they were kind of in my mind's eye, whereas I thought, I don't know what I thought, like a big balloon or something with color was going to come around this person, I was going to see it. But for me, I see them kind of in my mind's eye. And Doreen says, for some of you, you'll just see them in your mind's eye. And I was like, really? I've been seeing them all along and I didn't know because I was so intent on it being the way that my son did. I thought I wasn't doing it right, or I was missing out on something, or maybe it wasn't real. But it's something that's already within you that you're maybe just not attuned to, or you're not aware of, that you are actually, it's that little voice that you haven't really made that connection, that it's guiding you along, or it's that sense of knowing that your psychic intuition that you already have, that you don't really trust, or that feeling that you get when something goes off, or angel, people call them angel bumps or goosebumps or whatever. And it's just these little subtle things that happen for us, or maybe sometimes they're not so subtle, that people are not connected with. So I'm just wondering if we can outline some of, because we don't want to discount, they come in, everybody's individual, but some of the ways, again, just that people might get signs or feel that they can connect with their angels, that it is actually angelic guidance.
Do you want to do a couple, and I'll talk about a couple?
Okay, I'll do a couple.
Okay.
Well, sometimes you actually get physical signs, which is always a really nice one. I just did a house cleansing a couple of weeks ago, and I was down in the basement, and it was a clear floor. There's nothing there, and I'm saging the house, and there had been a lot of spirit activity in the house, and I'm walking ahead, and suddenly I just turned around, and the homeowner is about maybe 8-10 feet behind me, and she's looking at the ground, and she has this look of curiosity and wonder, and she's looking down on the ground, and right in the middle of the floor there's this feather, a white feather about this big. Now, I had just walked over there was no feather.
Yeah.
When I had just walked there. So sometimes you'll get these physical signs, or even like in the clouds you might get, where I remember going to a reading one time, and it was a group reading, and I wasn't feeling very well, and I was driving along kind of cranky about it all. And I'm talking to my spirit guides. It's like, well, you have to help me out with this because I'm not feeling really good, and yada, yada, yada. And as clear as day, there's just this angel wing, this cloud shaped like an angel wing. All right, fine. I'll continue along.
Yes.
So there's all sorts of different signs, but certainly physical signs is one of them. And sometimes people will find coins.
Yeah.
Dimes are very common. So when they're looking for guidance, and they're upset about things, and all of a sudden they'll see a dime. And that's a sign from their angels. So it could come in physical forms as well.
Okay, I'll talk about some of the direct ways that we can connect with our angels. So I kind of like to group it in the area of those external physical signs that Tammy's talked about. The angels will use the surroundings to get a message through to us, or they can talk to us directly.
Yeah.
And talking is one of the ways that they connect to us. So there's an inner voice. Sometimes it's a voice that sounds like our own voice. Sometimes it's almost a voice that's talking to us, as if to say, you can do it, or you'll be okay.
Yes.
We're going to help you. We are with you. And that's the voice that we hear. And that's one of the direct ways that angels communicate to us, through sound and voice or hearing. Another one would be the visual that you talked about seeing auras. I was like you. I did not see anything, in fact. And I heard about people talking how they always saw these spirits of loved ones that had passed away walking around the room. And I thought, I've never seen that. I'm kind of glad I hadn't seen that, actually, because I don't think I'd want that distraction. But what I did learn was that I can see in my mind's eye. And in doing this work for some time, I've learned that there's so many different ways that people see. And some people see easier by just closing their eyes and just imagining where the imagination is. But instead of forcing the imagination, something kind of just pops in there visually. And it's just learning to trust that is a picture, perhaps a premonition or a prophecy of what is going to come if you follow what you think you're supposed to do, or the right path you should take. This is what's going to happen. So it sometimes gives us that motivation. Sometimes it's a visual that people see right here. I call this holographic. People will often see the outcome right before their eyes. It's sitting right in front of the third eye chakra, that energy center. And some people are able to project really well. So if we say, imagine you succeeding at that great presentation or that great show you're going to put on, and you could sit and all of a sudden the room is transformed and you can just see everything around you being that beautiful scenario where you're just elegantly presenting, what it is you'd like to present. That's what we call projection. So there's so many different ways that visually the angels or spirit will give us visual images of motivation, inspiration, or what is to come, or even a form of guidance. It might be, what is my most fulfilling life path? And we see ourselves maybe working behind a counter as a chef, and we've always wanted to open a restaurant, but we've always stayed in that business role, a corporate role that we've been in. We haven't pursued that dream, but they'll just give us that vision. And if that's coming to us repeatedly through those channels, that's another indication it's coming from the angels or divine guidance when it's repeated, when we have that same vision occurring over and over again. I think that's probably a couple of the
Yeah,
ways you're thinking of,
absolutely.
and there's a few more too that we can touch on.
Definitely. And even in the hearing, one of the things that I often tell my clients is that, because we'll have clients that will come and ask us a question and say, well, do they want me to do this or do they want me to do that? And what I'm able to do as someone who connects is bring through the guidance for this path and bring through the guidance for that path. But
Exactly.
in my own interpretation and opinion over the years and practicing is that true angelic guidance will not tell you go do this or go do that, because it works with our free will.
Right.
And so what we're able to do through our readings is to, as I said, give you the guidance along what may happen if you go down this road and what may happen if you go down this road, how this road may help you, how this road may present a challenge, but again, not to replace your own free will choice.
Absolutely.
And that's something that is really important to me to impress upon my clients about what we're here to do, is to help bring through guidance, not necessarily tell you do this or do that, because that's not our place.
And that's not what it's about. It's
Yeah.
about simply guidance. And
Yeah.
these are some different options. And if we take this away, for example, I do it exactly the way you do. It's like, okay, there's this path, this path, this path. All right, if we do it this way, this looks really good. This way, there's going to be a lot of delays here. There's going to be a lot of problems, etc. Things you have to watch out for here. So you can go through each of the different scenarios and see which one, this looks like if you take this job opportunity, it's very promising. It feels very good. I get my little rainbow symbol, or
Yes.
if it's very good. So there's a lot of different ways of doing that, but it's never about telling somebody what to do.
Exactly.
Ever.
And that's one of the things I want to press upon people who are maybe interested in having an angel reading for the first time or seeking assistance, is that we're really here to help guide you into your own knowing, things that you already know and feel, and that we're just helping you bring your own decisions to the surface.
Exactly.
We're not here to tell you what to do or when to do it or when to leave your husband or quit your job or should you go down this road or that. That's not our place to do that. One of the other things I wanted to touch on is with angelic readings versus some other readings that may be out there. For me personally, again, I always find that the difference that I notice is angelic readings tend to come from a place of support, love, encouragement, praise,
So it's very positive.
and inspiration, motivation. Where some of the other readings out there, while they're also psychic, they are a little bit more fear-based. So they tend to focus on the things that can go bad. We talk about curses and placing curses and black magic and things like that. Whereas one of the things I want to point out when you're working with an angel reader is that he or she will come from a place of love and light,
Absolutely.
which is a difference. Can you touch on that a little bit more, somebody?
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Yeah. The angels are pure love. So they have no ego. They know not how to say, watch out for this. They just say, protect, uphold, be careful, but they don't say, oh, something bad is going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. They are messengers of pure love. So they're always, as Tammy mentioned, the word positive. They're always bringing positive messages. And I think what you're touching on really is that when we're doing readings, psychic readings are basically using the psychic skills to read energy. But if I was really nervous about something I was doing in my work or relationship confrontation I was, planning to deal with, I would be holding a lot of fear. And if you were just using your psychic senses, you would just feel nothing but fear.
Yes.
So I find just having a psychic reading is a little like saying, can you see how I'm feeling? Can you read what my energy is? Whereas when we set the intention to hear from those beings of love and light that surround us, they're all around us, and they are upholding that will of that highest source, which is you are loved, you are supported, you are safe.
Yes.
They give us a different form of guidance than if I'm just reading energy psychically.
Yes.
Okay. There's yet another form of reading I would call mediumship, which is using that same intuitive channels, not just channel, but channels, feelings, visuals, hearing, and we connect with deceased loved ones who have a living spirit in a different realm than the physical realm, and they also can provide some information and guidance and counsel and opinion, and they have a little bit of a different energy than our angels. I think there's a big difference between a guardian angel versus the deceased loved ones.
Yes.
The deceased loved ones have a personality that's very much like the way they
They're
were living.
on Earth.
Yeah, and they give us their opinion or their suggestion or from their perspective
Yeah.
what would be the best approach. But I think that it's nice to be aware that when we go to the angels, you're basically going to that conduit, that connection, that messenger that is coming straight from the highest source.
Yes.
And so it's really about our own personal connection with God or source or creator, whatever we use as that understanding of that our highest power. So it is really a very powerful process. And when people are doing angel readings, they're typically leading with an intention statement or a prayer that we like to hear from angels. And there's an understanding that we're hearing basically from messengers from our highest source.
Absolutely.
It's all beings of love and light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As an example of that, I had a man come to me for a reading. And he didn't believe in angels, didn't believe in psychics. But he had been out of work for 6 months. And he was desperate. He was absolutely desperate. And he came in, he just said, I've been out of work for 6 months. I don't believe in any of this stuff, but I need some help. All right, let's take a look. And when I looked into his work timeline, all I saw was a brick wall. And so what they did was they bounced me back to where he had been working. And he had been working at his job for like 15, 20 years. Everything was good, right? And then about 3 years from the time he left, there's like this black mark, and it just started to go downhill. And he had a new boss come in at that time, and they didn't quite see eye to eye, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And what he had done was he had started to, once he got out of there, it had been such a toxic environment, such a negative environment, that he had built up this wall. And he was basically, I'm not going into another job situation like that. I'm not going to be treated like that. I'm not going to go through all of that nonsense. So what we did was we brought in Archangel Michael to put up some energetic protection around him. Mm-hmm. And what this did was it kept him protected from the negative entities, negative energy, but it allowed that wall to come down so he could be protected from the negative, but allow the positive in. Mm-hmm. So once Archangel Michael had put up the protection around him, we relooked at the timeline. The wall was down, and there was like 4 job offers. And I said, like, they're right on your timeline. Like, and he's like, when? I'm like today, tomorrow, like maximum 2 weeks, maximum 2 weeks. And I said, the first job's going to be taken away, but there's going to be 3 excellent offers for you. And either one, whatever you choose to do, is going to be excellent. Next day I get a phone call. All right, I got a call this morning. I had a job offer, it was taken away. Later that afternoon, he got another job. He got a job offer. Yeah. And he was all excited about it. Next day, he got his 3rd job offer. The 3rd job offer came through. And they wanted him to go to Winnipeg. He's like, should I go to Winnipeg? Sure, go to Winnipeg. If you feel guided to go to Winnipeg, go to Winnipeg. So he went out to Winnipeg. By the time he got back, the 4th job offer had come through. And within 2 weeks, he was in his full-time job. He had taken it. But if they hadn't done that angel work in removing that brick wall and moving that...
his own fear.
His resistance, exactly. His fear and resistance of going back into a toxic environment. But I love that story just because he was, for somebody who was so doubtful of angels and so doubtful of psychics and that kind of thing, and just to have the 4 offers came in, first one taken away, and then he had these 3 great offers. And within 2 weeks, he was working full-time at a job that he loved.
And I think that's really important, and it's not necessarily for the psychic kudos or psychic win that we experience that joy as angel readers. It's the joy in seeing someone connected to their own divine self. That you think, wow, that's great. You've made that connection. You're connected because again, we're serving as the conduit. We're helping with the guidance, but the client is always doing the work. We are all individually doing our own work. Yeah. So the joy comes from seeing the light within someone else lit. And that's one of the things that keeps me going, right? Because we just love lighting, helping to help people light themselves up and lighting up the world as a result.
I often say to my clients, you'd be shocked at how little I do in a reading.
Yeah, exactly.
I really don't do much. Sit back, let the angels work, is what they're saying.
It's so true because you're sort of like, okay, take over. Now, what are some of the things that you do to keep your conduit clear?
Staying in positive energy, I think, is really, really important. Staying around positive people in a positive environment. Meditation, you'll never get away from that. Meditation is just so important, calming the mind. It's very difficult. Like, sometimes I get clients coming in that are very intuitive, but because they're in a stressful situation and their mind is just racing, they can't hear the messages. You know, normally they'd be able to get them, but they're just so frantic, they're so stressed out that they can't pick up the guidance. So they need somebody who's just a bit calmer that can just make that connection for
and
them.
that's a really good point, because if I was trying to learn something from Chris, but you're talking at me and we're talking and I'm talking, it's going to be very difficult for me to hear you, to see something you might be showing me, to feel your touch, or because I'm focused. So even for those of us who are trying or looking to strengthen our ability to tune in on our own, it is that quietening down so that you can sense in whichever way you're connecting and receiving, that you can sense that as just sort of quietening things down to allow that to happen, which you would do if you were trying to converse with anybody.
Exactly.
I find when I do a lot of teaching people how do you open up, I kind of think of it as a top 10 list of self-care techniques. One of them would be like opening the chakras, and you can open the chakras in a variety of ways. Meditation is a great way to open the chakras, relax the mind, relax the body. And hearing angels, it's listening to our intuition or feeling our intuition or seeing something from our intuition, and it's subtle. It's energy. Okay, everything is energy. What we're sitting on here, our bodies and everything is an energy, a living energy with a consciousness and a will. But we're tuning into subtle energy. So there's a lot of things we can do to open up those chakras. Sea salt baths are a great way. Salt tends to wash away toxins. Meditation is a great way. Walking in nature or getting into a natural system where things are just as they're meant to be. So walking through a forest is a great way to clear the aura of all that extra energetic debris we might pick up from, say, a toxic corporate environment, or riding on a public transit system, and we just get other people's energy in our field and we feel it. And that's one of the things also, is being able to articulate, what am I feeling, and identifying, where did this feeling come from?
Whose is it?
Yeah.
If we recognize that, oh, wait a second, this is my daughter's crankiness. She came home from school with this crankiness, and I've been cranky for the last hour. That's not my stuff. I can let that go. Immediately there's a peace. When we're in a state of peace, when we're in a state where it feels as though our energy, our life energy is strong and firm, it's quite easy to hear that guidance. When it's not, it's almost a call for self-care, meditation, retreat. And so there's a lot of different things. Listening to music that opens us up. If we're singing and we're driving along, that's great because it opens us up. Physical activity or yoga is actually shaking out the debris of energy in our field and opening the chakras so we can hear and receive that guidance from that infinite, source. There are so many different ways that we can open up. If we're feeling good, that's the time to ask the angels, how can I help? If we're really having trouble getting over a fearful situation, maybe a big situation or a big decision in our life, come and see somebody. Come and see a practitioner who does angel work and who can do that on your behalf. So when we're in need of help, we're not in our best state, we go to our fitness trainer, we go to our counselor, we go to someone for angel guidance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, with even dialing back to when you talked about, maybe being on public transit or being around other people and sort of absorbing energy, it's not because they're bad people.
Of course not.
It's like anything. If you came off the public transit, you might come home and wash your hands.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's just because there might be something that they're not bad people because they might have a cold or a germ or whatever it is, right? So it's that kind of thing of just being conscious of that we need to pay attention to our own energy as well, and in order to help us keep that connection clear and keep ourselves cleansed that way. So I think that's also really important. Now, one of the things I know you've done in the past as well is help children, and we talked about this earlier, where we are all born with psychic intuition, all of us, every one of us. So some of us have the past, like it runs through my family. So like Tiger Woods is a better golfer because his dad was a better golfer. It's kind of in the DNA. It's just a little bit of an advantage kind of thing. And then there are people who train and hone skills that's how they enhance them. But all the children come in and they all have psychic skills, and usually our intuition, like you say, gets shut down from the no, sweetie, that's not an angel, that's your imaginary friend or whatever. Just put them away now and let it go, or you didn't hear anything, or no, you're not seeing anything. And so we start to doubt ourselves. We just get told that enough times that you sort of shut these things down. But I do know that you've done some work with kids as well. And what I'm wondering is, because I have for spirited children myself, I know you do as well, is helping the children to stay connected and helping them to use that in a powerful way for themselves and to keep them connected to their own divine self. What are some of the tools that we can offer our kids in supporting them, whether it be as a parent or just someone who's in the community around children?
I would say that meditation is something that it's never too early to introduce to children. And meditation can be in many forms. It just can be sitting in stillness and just sitting and recognizing our own thoughts passing through our mind. And sometimes that's all it takes for a child to recognize that there's an inner peace that comes with just being still. There can be easy ways to learn to meditate. Playing chant music or a mantra or even a guided meditation is a great way. And kids are so imaginative that it's really an effective way to get them into that meditative state. It's not Meditation is not something we should do. It's a state of being in which we're aware and we're conscious. So meditation is great. Energy work, teaching them about energy is another way. So teaching them how they feel, whose feelings they're holding on to, and how to let that go. Angels are a great way to help us with that. So Archangel Michael protects us from fear, can also remove that fear from us. So if we're feeling really anxious, Archangel Michael, please help me here in this situation. We don't even need to know more than that.
Yeah.
But as us as parents are learning those skills, and we usually have children that are growing up, the children can use those same skills that we're learning. So as we're learning how to ask angels to help us to remain calm or to let go of anxiety, we can teach our children to do the same thing. We can also pray for the angels to help our children when they're at school, or to be protected while they're traveling, or to help with a relationship that they're having trouble with. So that's another thing we can do, is ask for angels to help. That's one of the things I find in teaching children, is that I first started teaching adults and then started teaching children how to connect to angels. And when I just basically looked at it, it was the same curriculum, but simplified. And then I found that the simplifications are really good for the adults. So it's easy to talk to angels. All you have to do is ask for help, and then just listen to your body and what you see, hear, feel, and know. And it was very simple with children. And for them, they can get there like that. So they can do angel communication, they can talk to angels, because it is something that we are born with. And so children have a sort of a stronger memory or recollection that this is our innate nature. This is the way we're wired. This is the way we're meant to be.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And just keeping it very normal.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a big deal, that it's safe and it's easy. And I had one little boy come in to see me his mom brought him in because he was getting freaked out because he was seeing all these things. And we brought in Archangel Michael for protection for the little boy, just so he knew that he could call on Archangel Michael. And I had the little boy just close his eyes because he was so intuitive. And I said, "Can you see him?" And he said, "Well, I see this very big, strong angel, and I see a shield and a sword." Wow.
I know, right? It's so amazing.
It was amazing. And again, just keeping everything very normal, just keeping it very low-key, not making it into something that's big and scary or anything like that.
Yeah, totally. I have a little 2-year-old that I work with who actually has the language to back it up, which is amazing. So he's been speaking since he's about 18 months old. And I've just been blown away by what I see, and then him describing it because he has the language. And it's just so mind-blowing to me. It's incredible because I know what I'm seeing as an adult, and I'm impressed by it, because when you're in tune with this energy, it's just so uplifting. But to hear him describe the angels the way you say it too, it's so incredible to even get that further validation that they do see and someone else is seeing, but a child to be able to see so clearly and articulate it, I thought it was just phenomenal. Now, just really quickly, one of the things I want to touch on, because one of the tips you gave was, around prayer, is to touch on the fact that we do not need to be religious to connect with our angels. I think it's really important for people to know that the angels do not judge. There's no need for that, and that they're here for each and every one of us. Did you want to add to that quickly, either of you?
And also, even if you think of it as the intention, what's the intention that's being said as opposed to prayer, if you're uncomfortable with that kind of line of thinking, as long as it's positive. I mean, angels are in all major religions. It's the one thing that they can all agree upon is angels. Yay!
I'm going to add to that in a way, maybe to show how angels show up for people. Children can connect to their angels, and they often will see an angel and get those common characteristics. Michael's a protector with a sword and a shield of light. But they can come in a variety of ways. I have a daughter who is really, really pro-animal rights, and her angels come to her as different animal guides, but they are her angels, and it comes to her in a form that she can relate to. I have another daughter who basically connects with spirit and the angels through her connection to the earth and plants. So an herb or a crop or a particular food that she wants to grow, that's how she connects to her angels. I have another child, my stepson, who connects to angels through the names and the personalities and traits of all of his guardian angels. And he loves to do angel card readings. Another child loves to just receive energy healing, Reiki or rainbow energy healing. So the energy is the way that they connect to that inner connection, that inner source of guidance and comfort. and reassurance. Angels for us as adults, sometimes they actually reflect a part of our personality.
Yes.
Another way that we can see angels, if we're really having trouble with sort of a religious blockage, some people have issues with the word God or a sense of the word prayer or even just angels as being religious. Angels are sometimes nothing more than a form of energy that reflects a quality that we value within ourselves. So if I have an angel of courage, which I have a guardian angel who's there all the time, is reminding me that to live my life and to be what I want to be and what my soul yearns to create in my life, my divine life purpose. I have an angel of courage, a guardian angel who reminds me that I am courageous. I have another one who reminds me of kindness and reminds me that kindness is always more effective than force or demands. So that angel shows up for me when I'm reminded of to use my own quality of kindness, a God-given gift, if you will, of kindness. And a lot of times I find angels reflect the personality of the person. So I have a client, yesterday I was doing a reading and the client had an angel which was a fairy, because this person loves to find comfort and solace in nature, in their garden, and their living garden outside in the yard is basically an extension of their home, and they have a fairy who's always upholding that, reminding them to continue to expand on that. There are other angels that come through as beings of help in a particular area of expertise, like a healing angel, and that person's always guided to be offering compassionate care, medical care, psychological counsel, or even healing work in an alternative field or a holistic field. So angels come to us in so many ways. It really has nothing to do with religion. It's more about the fact that there is a higher power that is available to us. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere.
Absolutely.
And it can come to us through so many different forms. And angels are just one form of which our connection to infinite source is available to us everywhere, every time, every place in the galaxy, So there's so many different ways that angels can show up for us, thinking of them more as simply a messenger of something from that pure source of love, light, reassurance, safety, protection. It makes it easy, I think, for people to understand it.
Totally.
If I could add to one more way was to see this was I had a client who was an atheist, who pronounced himself as an atheist and showed up for an angel reading. And I thought, well, this should be very interesting. And his guidance was all intellectual and philosophical ideals. And his angels were presenting, they were like little knowledge angels of different philosophical belief systems. And so what it really reflected was his own belief system, and how he connects to the highest is that there's just a highest field of truth available. So there's so many ways that can work for every single person of every belief system.
It does. It definitely reflects that way. Now, if there's one thing you can leave with the viewers, what would it be?
Ask your angels. Just ask your angels for help with whatever it is you need. Even if you don't know which angel, or just ask your guardian angel for help with this, or just ask your angels. Again, you don't necessarily need names. You don't need. I believe a busy angel is a happy angel, and give them lots of assignments. I keep mine busy.
I'm sure you too.
And I would just add to that, once you ask the angels for help, pay attention to what you hear, anything that you see visually, anything that you feel repeatedly, or even any cognitive thought. Sometimes it's just a thought that keeps repeating itself. So once you ask for help, that's all you need to do to get help. Just pay attention to the different ways that you're being nudged.
Great, thank you. Tammy, what's up and coming for you, and how can people reach you?
Up and coming, I've got some workshops coming up. I do some with my daughter in Toronto at Blisson. I do some with Chris. Chris and I have a workshop in March, an intensive psychic development workshop. I do private readings, angel readings, mediumship readings, and past life readings. You can get in touch with me at oakvillemedium.com.
Terrific, thank you so much.
Thank you, Priya.
And Chris, up and coming for you, and how can the viewers reach you?
Okay, up and coming, lots of workshops. I'm doing workshops all the time, introductory workshops on how to connect to angels, more advanced workshops for people who feel that they want to work with angels, or maybe add that to their professional work, or feel called to do teaching or healing about angels and spiritual topics. I'm offering courses repeatedly in that, and then the energy healing modality that I've been teaching for about 7 years now. There are practitioners who are offering rainbow energy. It's a very powerful modality to help people really move into that state of present moment awareness and conscious living, and living, 365, if you will. And they can reach me at www.chriscuciurean.com.
Terrific.
Yeah, or Chris Angel Oakville is a good way to search me up on Google.
Oh, look at that. He knows his SEO. Good job, Chris.
And you'll see Tammy's site as well when you do
Yeah.
that. So.
Thank you so much for coming in today. It's been a pleasure meeting you, spending time with you. I'd like to take a second and just have a special thank you to you. I hope I don't tear up, but you really did help me at a time when I needed help and helped me connect, and I really thank you for that. But beyond that, I thank you as a masculine energy for embracing the angelic realm, because it tends to be a female-dominated industry, to be honest with you. I won't lie. And I really want to thank you and commend you for stepping up and sharing that masculine energy and helping other men feel more comfortable with connecting and being okay with this. So my angel wings off to you. How's that?
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very
and
much,
for
Priya.
being a part of my life. Thank you both. Angel workshops are available to everyone. I really do encourage you to take the time and get connected with your angels, not just to experience the bliss of that connection, but also to allow you to become more connected to yourself. That's really what I promote for everyone that watches the show, is to help you have that more awakened awareness within yourself so that you can tune into your own light and experience it for yourself. The angels are here to help you. There is no request too big. There is no request too small. Find the time and the ability to tune in today. You could start with a pack of angel cards. They're available through most metaphysical stores, and even your local chapters will carry angel cards. Pick them up. You'll be guided in your own way on how to start connecting. You'll start receiving your own messages in the way that works for you. It may be some of the things you heard us describe today, but you'll get a sense. You really will know, feel, see, hear in some capacity that you're connecting. And I really think it will help you to move forward in life and just feel that more light-filled. As always, thank you for joining us. Look forward to seeing you again. I want to remind you to stop waiting and start living 365.